Formally namaste and welcome to the session, Artyaka. As tomorrow, on the occasion of Gauri Ganesh festival, I thought you are the right person to give more about this festival and scientific reasoning behind celebration and also cultural point of view. So I thought we'll have this session today. And also, due to the pandemic, we are not able to celebrate as happily or as enthusiastically we celebrate every year. But nevertheless, something we can do and talk about the Vignaharta, Sukhakarta, Dukhaharta. Also, see what best can be done in this situation. So, let us have a discussion on this point. That's the idea. So, formally, everybody, namaste and welcome to the show. Arati Akka is most of you know her very well, but still, as a part of procedure, I will introduce her. She's a Dr. Arati BB, though I call her Arati Akka, and she's a founder head of Bibu Academy, who works with children. She is a trainer and cultural ambassador. She is a counselor for youth and women and consultant faculty for academy for creative teaching and also a guest faculty for performing arts department, Jain University. What I could say is a scholar, orator, writer, and ambassador for cultural values because she has done her doctorate in that particular topic. So let us listen from her. Akka, my first question is, why do we celebrate Ganesh Utsav from Ananta Chaturthi to Ananta Chaturdashi? What is the significance behind 10 days celebration?
Namasarvebhyaha, Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Okay, this is an English session, right?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. We all know the significance of Ganapati in our tradition. He symbolizes many things. Hinduism is equal to symbolism, we can say, because all the abstract truths are codified or symbolized in a concrete object. That's how great ideas are documented for posterity. That's the way our Indian tradition has been alive and vibrant down the ages. Without symbolizing something, without codifying something, we cannot continue the abstract thoughts, particularly subtle thoughts like that of Vedanta or Dhyana, meditation, the Adhyatma, which is only comprehensible through experience. It's impossible to retain that down the generations, the spirit of Adhyatma, without symbolizing what it is. So that is the main idea. So that is why Ganesha is a wonderful symbol of the Paratattva. He symbolizes the Adhyatma bhava of Paratattva and also the Laukika Siddhidata of Ishvara.
Yes.
Because we are on Laukika ultimately, isn't it? Until someday, by God's grace, we break out of all our samsarika ashas and we really soar high. We just sublimate into the vast expanse of Brahma.
Yes.
Till then, we are Laukika.
Yes.
It's ultimately we want to be happy, we want to be healthy, we want that this, we want our children to be happy, we want success, we want siddhi, buddhi, vriddhi, everything.
Long list.
Samriddhi. Yes, a long list, yes. So he is that Karunamaya who gives us all this. And he is also the Adhyatma Tattva Swarupi who helps us transcend all this. You know, like we have our kids, they ask for a car to play with, they ask for a jeep to play with, they ask for toys. Of course, we spend enough money and buy them all that. But as the child grows up, we expect the child also to mature and play in a better and better way, in a higher, in a more mature way. So if a grown-up 20-year-old kid, not kid, 20-year-old young man or girl asks for a toy to play with, a jeep to play with, we will really, it sounds very squirmish.
Yes.
So similarly, in lots of janmas, we have lived the Laukika life. So Lord will also help us to transcend from that immature Balisha desires and take us high. So this is the whole idea of worshipping the Lord in any form and also in the form of Ganesha. Now coming to why do we celebrate for the 10 days, the number of days is symbolical and it's also regional. You know? It is not compulsory to celebrate Ganeshotsav for 10 days.
Mm-hmm.
It is a very popular tradition in Maharashtra
Mm-hmm.
and many parts of Karnataka.
Mm.
Okay, so Ananta Chaturthi to Ananta Chaturdashi.
Yes.
Ananta Chaturdashi is a very, very famous vrata.
Yes.
We worship Lord Vishnu as Ananta, the infinite.
True.
So everything is symbolized by the number 14.
Mm.
And Chaturthi, this Bhadrapada Shukla Chaturthi, is called Ananta Chaturthi. So this Chaturthi is a very auspicious for Ganapati Puja. So there is a tradition of worshipping for just one day. Worship today on Chaturthi and do the Visarjan today. Even that is there. If we do not have the resources or time or the convenience, etc., that is allowed. There are also people who do the worship and immediately do the Visarjana also. It's all allowed. It's very flexible in our dharma. Then we have people who can celebrate for 3 days, for 1 week, or sometimes indefinite number of days, and they see the right muhurta, the right day, the Shubha Tithi, Shubha Nakshatra, Shubha Vasara, everything, and do the Visarjana on that day. But very popularly in Maharashtra, because Ganapati is like the king of Maharashtra, he is the most favorite god for the Maharashtrians.
It's a state god, you can say, or state.
Yes, state god. So he is very, very popular there, and there's been a tradition to worship for 10 days. So it's called Ganesha Manglarti is done on Ananta Chaturthi.
Yes.
Ananta Chaturdashi.
Dashi.
So it's the numbers are very relative. You know, every time we get obsessed by numbers and the Bhahyachara, but pretty much all this is very regional. And it is also not just regional, it is also related to a family clan. You have farmers who worship in a certain style and a certain number of days. You have the Purohits doing it in a certain way. You have the Kshatriyas doing it in a certain way. So every puja, not just Ganapatis, the number of days, the number of... one thing is very common is the 21 Sankhya.
Right.
Ekavimshati, the 21 Siddhi Sankhya.
Yes.
Interestingly, I'll tell you the speciality of that number. Even today, it has a very special role in the world of psychology. So I was very fascinated to know about that. Except the number 21, which is very important for Ganapati, very symbolical of Ganapati. Number of days, etc., are regional traditions.
Okay. I belong to Maharashtra, and this is a state deity for Maharashtra. Big way celebration. One reason is during the freedom struggle, Lokmanya Tilak made it a Sarvajanik Utsav, public celebration. Intention behind that was motivated by different agenda. However, coming back to the divinity part of it, in my family, it was a 7-day celebration, which had its own significance, along with Mahalakshmi arrival, and then both together immersed on 7th day. And few, as you say, few families celebrate for a day, few families 1.5 day, few families for 3 days, 5 days. They have their significance and family lineage for that particular reason. I also want to know that each part of Ganesha idol signifies scientific reasoning. And when we speak to children, especially, we explain them what is the significance of the trunk, what is the significance of the Lambodar, what is the significance of the Gajakarna. And so I think I want you to explain that for better understanding.
Okay. First of all, the word science has to be properly understood. We're all messed up about the word science. When we say scientific explanation, we expect something to be explained in terms of physics, chemistry, biology, and the material sciences. But science itself is not just about matter. You know, it's much about that. Science is a dispassionate inquiry into truth, says Swami Ranganathanji, a beautiful definition. Any factual probe, you know, any probe into factual, into facts, a very, very honest and deep probe becomes a science. That is why the better word we can use is Shastra.
Shastra.
Shasatiti Shastram.
Yes.
I think we all have to go back to our Sanskrit words and not translate them to English, because English is a very small language.
There is
It's
no
got
parallel word
it's
available
not
in
even a
English.
language. It is a mixture of 4 languages: Old
Yes.
Germanic, Spanish,
Yes.
Latin, etc.
Yes. Yes.
So Sanskrit is such a vast. It's like trying to put an ocean into a small glass. It's impossible. So what we end up translating in the wrong way. So I think science is the wrong word we use for Shastra. All Shastras are sciences in a way, that they are all methodical approaches into any field of knowledge. So even Sangeeta can be a Shastra. There is mathematics in Sangeeta. I'm sure people who know Sangeeta understand. There is tal, you have numbers, you have divisions, etc. And you have raga, there is pitch, there's frequency, there's timbre, all those things come. And there's acoustics in that, in preparing instruments. So that type of, all the material sciences are also involved in a Shastra. There's always an interdisciplinary approach. So in that sense, when you take philosophy or the religious culture where we worship our gods, the dharmika samskriti, what we say, is about both Shastra and aesthetics. Both are there. You have the very logical and very honest probe into the Adhyatma Tattva. Tattvanusandhana, we call it. You also have the aesthetics, the Kala Vignyata. Like in your Maharashtra, we see Ganapati is celebrated in so many forms: standing Ganapati, sitting Ganapati, relaxing Ganapati, sleeping Ganapati, dancing Ganapati, singing Ganapati, playing the harmonium, playing the tanpura.
Because he's a Vidyadhipati, various
Yes.
Kalaguna Adhipati.
He can become anything. They may not be necessarily the exact agamic form of Ganapati.
No.
But with all the agamic form, you have also these extra extrapolations. And they are left to the creativity of the bhakta. And but that should not be taken to very wrong distances. Like some people make Veerappan Ganapati, Villadan Ganapati. They're very stupid, very idiotic. But Ganapati dancing, singing, etc., reading, writing, all that is fine. So a lot of creativity is allowed. So there are two dimensions. One is the Shastric, another is the Kavyatmaka or the Kalatmaka, Kalpana Vilasa. With both, we have the dharmic culture. So now coming to the form of Ganapati, the Shastric interpretation is that he is Aja. Aja means not born. Gaja means the biggest, too big. The word Gaja has many meanings, and two prominent meanings are involved in the form of Ganapati. One is he is Gaja. In the Yoga Shastras, there is a very beautiful Siddhanta theory about the Kundalini awakening. We all have a very special power, a conscience, a Chaitanya, a power which is dormant in everybody of us, every human being. Gender doesn't matter, our community doesn't matter, nothing matters. Everybody of us have the dormant Kundalini power, which is coiled up like a serpent, and it is dormant, sleeping in the lowermost chakra, the Mooladhara chakra of spinal cord of not this mortal, not this human spinal cord, but the we call it the Sushumna Nadi. It's a conscious plane. You can't dissect the body and show that. It's more related to the consciousness, the flow of consciousness. So the Kundalini is dormant. So despite being dormant, the Kundalini is sleeping from Janmas, okay? And despite the Kundalini sleeping, we are so active. The very presence of Kundalini enables us to think, to feel, to act. All our dynamic action is despite the sleeping Kundalini. So when you do sadhana, when you purify your mind and chitta and buddhi, etc., focus, the sadhaka becomes very focused and pure. Then the Kundalini, which is sleeping in his in the Mooladhara, begins to awaken. So the point of awakening of the Kundalini reveals a trikona, a Jyotirmaya trikona, a effulgent trikona to the sadhaka in his meditation. This is not from outside, not with a camera. It's from the inner camera. So he visualizes the trikona, Jyotirmaya trikona. So trikona, when he goes into that trikona through his conscious meditation, he sees the Gaja Kunda, or Gaja Kunda Darshana. Gaja means infinite. Kunda means a container. A container which is infinite, which has no ends. A very huge entity he has, Darshan. And that is so effulgent. The moment he has the Gajakunda Darshana, all the vignas, all the kinds of obstacles in his path,
obstacles in
the inner blocks, the
materialistic
outer
life.
blocks, his passions, his whatever, everything, all negativity, they all just fall off and he becomes very pure. And the Kundalini starts rising higher and higher. The starting point of the higher upper journey of Kundalini is marked by the Gajakunda Darshana. That is why the first anugraha we need in our spiritual life is that of the Gajakunda. Okay, so that Gajakunda Shakti, that Gaja there is symbolized by the other meaning of the word Gaja, which is called elephant. Okay, so there is a very beautiful paddhati, a beautiful tradition in India. Very great, beautiful philosophical thoughts are codified in simple symbols so that everybody can follow them. I hear some sounds. Can you just?
I think everyone.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So this symbolism is a beautiful way of the Indians. In our mnemonics, we call it associative memory. You want to remember something, associate that with an object. Like if I want to remember a particular diagram or a particular answer from a textbook, I remember that, it's on the 6th page on the right side at the top, the picture is there. So immediately everything comes to my mind. It's called associative memory. It's a very simple technique to help us memorize. So Ganapati, the Gaja, the Yoga Shastriya Gaja, Gajakunda Shakti is symbolized by Gajamukha. This is the yogic meaning. In Veda, we call somebody called Vachaspati. There is a Deva called Vachaspati. The Ganapati or Vachaspati of Deva is the Lord who provokes, Lord who inspires speech in us. He's called Vachaspati. So Parapashyanti Madhyama Vaikhari, 4 stages of Vak come because of his anugraha. So he's Vachaspati. The same Vachaspati is Gaja in Yoga Shastra. And in Puranas, all this has been like sugar-coated pills. They have beautiful stories put around them. Then the Vachaspati becomes Ganapati. Gana means Devanam Gana. So he becomes a leader. How does he become the leader? He's Sada Balarupa. He's a little little boy always.
Form of a god.
So the story of Shiva, Parvati, creating Ganesha, etc. That story. It's quite very popular. It's a folk story. It has nothing to do with great symbolisms. It's just a folk story. But the beauty of our Hindu culture is we don't deny anything. For us, the highest Vedic or the Tattvic or the experiential truths and the folk, simple, beautiful things. Even a child can worship Ganapati in his own style in a very, very head, uncivilized manner.
In fact, we encourage that. Children worshipping.
Everything is a part of life. So we don't deny or negate or just poo-poo anything. It's been there. But a true sadhaka knows that Ganapati or Shiva are not so stupid that they don't recognize each other. It's just a leela, When Ram comes as, when Vishnu comes as Rama, he weeps for Sita. When Krishna comes as a little baby, he's afraid of a gumma, he's afraid of a demon, isn't it? Yashoda says, if you don't eat food, the demon will come and catch you. So he cries. Such leelas are there. We enjoy them as an aesthetic pleasure. It's a divine aesthetic pleasure. Even God becomes a leela maya for us. Everything in the world is a leela. Unlike the Semitic faiths in Christianity or Islam, they're afraid of God. To them, God is somebody sitting in the above the skies, above the clouds on a throne and dictating and controlling, and there'll be a judgment day, you'll go to hell or heaven.
And there will be punishment.
Yes, that kind of a threatening is there. But here it's not so. You get n number of chances. You can be born again and again and again. The supplementary exams happen too many times here. So till we learn, he resides in our heart and corrects us from within. He makes us understand, ripen from within. So this is the concept of the Tattvika concept of Ganapati. Now coming to the Laukika symbolism, coming to the worldly symbolisms or the worldly
visible symbolism.
Ideals, the worldly, not exactly worldly, we can say a very profoundly worldly, not the simple worldly things, but profoundly worldly symbolisms in his form is, first he has a temple region. We temple call it region. A very bulged thing that represents that he is a perfect blend of the right and the left brain. The bhavanatmaka and the vicharatmaka, the intellectual and the emotional.
Creative and logical.
Yes, both are well developed in him. A person who is only intelligent and very insensitive to feelings and emotions and sentiments and relationships and the beautiful things of life becomes very dangerous to the world. That kind of an intelligence is really horrible.
Harmful.
It better
Yes.
not be.
Yes.
And if you are very emotional, very artistic, very imaginative, fine. But there should be some logic also.
Yes.
If you completely forget logic and we become like fools. We tend to believe everything. We become superstitious.
Yes.
We become too emotional, too impractical. So both need to be balanced. That is what his Gandasthala show, that he's a perfect balance of both. And when both are balanced, you get Siddhi. Siddhi is what he gives. Okay? He's a Siddhi Nayaka because of his well developed EQ and IQ and SQ and all kinds of quotients. And his small eye, his Nasika, he's concentrating like this in the Nasika.
Yes.
That is that's a wonderful posture of a yogi who is immersed in his Atma Swarupa. So with all his Jagal Leela, with all his Leela in the outside world, he's still focused on his Brahma Swarupa. That shows he's very, very inquisitive. He goes deep, and he has a microscopical eyesight which can probe into many subtle and subtler truths. His Gajakarna, it represents that he's a Bahushruta. Bahushruta is a name given to a genius like Vidwan. A genius scholar is called Bahushruta in our parampara. Because for a very long time, till the British people came and imposed this very stupid, dirty, unscientific Marx, M-A-R-K-S, Marxwadi education on our heads. Till then, and even now in the conventional stream, what we see is education is more of Maukika. Like now we are talking, isn't it? You listen with passion. Now you are not forced anybody to come here.
No.
So if you don't come, I'll be kicked out of school. You will not get marks. You will fail you in the test. You will not get a degree. Nothing like that.
No, it's
people
out of liking
who love to learn will come.
Yes.
People who love to teach will teach. That kind of a very beautiful oral tradition where most of learning was through Shravana. Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana was the methodology. First listen, then internalize as it is, and then add your own inputs. Debate on that, discuss on that, and come out with your own insights. You can even refute that if you want. You can come with a new school of thought. So that was the methodology. A person who has mastered that Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana and gain mastery is called a Shruta. Shruta means a Vidwan. So Bahushruta means a scholar in multiple disciplines. So Ganapati is a great Vidwan, is a great Pandita.
Yes.
He represents all wisdom. He's Vidya Ganapati. So that is why he's another form of Saraswati, Vachaspati, Ganapati. That is what his microscopic eyes represent, and his huge ears represent. And his long Shunda. Trunk also represents that he's very inquisitive. He goes deep into anything and any matter. So that is the Laukika symbolism. And then he has a huge huge Garbha, Lambodara, isn't it? Lamba means which is not just big, it is also kind of sagged like this. Lambita. So it's so huge that you might have seen the sumo wrestlers. The tummy is so big that it comes and sags down. So he has a very huge tummy, and that is a beautiful symbolism that the whole Brahmanda is inside his Udara. He's Brahmandodara. He's Vishwadara. He is Hiranyagarbha. That is what it means. It's symbolized with his Lambodara. And he has tied a serpent around his tummy, and the serpent has its hood up. That represents a Jagrata Kundalini. A person who is Kundalini is completely upright, Jagrata. He will think right, speak right, work right, act right. Everything will be very, very perfect in harmony with the Ruta Prajna. Ruta Prajna is a Prajna which has to come from within. Knowledge is not about just learning from outside. It is about developing a Ruta Prajna. Ruta means the consciousness which helps you to assess and analyze and probe into the subtlest forms of truths within and without. So that Ruta Prajna is very important. One who has the Ruta Prajna will never speak wrong or do wrong or think wrong. One who does not have a Ruta Prajna, you can beat him and threaten him and force him, tie his hands, he will still manage to do some wicked thing. So without a Ruta Prajna, you cannot control people. So Ruta Prajna is there in him. So he always, that when the Ruta Prajna is Jagrata, the Kundalini is nourished and it goes upward. So he's got the Jagrata Kundalini. He's a Brahma Jnani. That is what it signifies. So the hood is like this. it has to be shown like that.
Shown like that, yes.
True Shilpa Shastrajnas do it in the proper way. But some artists who just take the liberty, change everything.
Tweak it.
They make the serpent sleep because their Kundalini will be sleeping. So
that's a good way to put it.
such very stupid mistakes they make.
Yes, yes.
So it's good to always keep connected to the main Shilpa
Yes.
Shastra tenets.
The Shastra has to be understood properly,
Yes.
even for the sculptures who are making it.
Yes, it's not about just seeing Ganapati and enjoying the sight.
Yeah.
It's not just darshanananda, it's
No.
also a dhyana.
Yes.
So the symbolism will take you deeper into dhyana.
Right.
Then we have the Ganapati has these Pasha and Ankusha, isn't it? The Pasha represents the Tirodana power. Actually, Srishti Sthiti Laya, Anugraha Tirodana. This is called Panchakrityas. So Bhagavanta, the Lord, always performs the Panchakrityas, Srishti Sthiti Laya, to create, to sustain his creation through dharma, through the laws of dharma, and then to just completely take it back into himself.
Yes.
Laya is not destruction, it is just putting it back into its place.
Yeah.
He manifests.
Getting immersed into its original form.
Yes, it goes and merges back into him. It's just a retrieval, that's all. And then Anugraha and Tirodana, those are the special things he does during Sthiti. Anugraha is, we do our duties, okay, but if we do something extra, no, Ketaki Bhagini had her duties, so she must have cooked in the morning, done all the household chores, finished everything. But with all that, then you made time to create a meeting like this to think of Ganapati. There's an extra thing in your life. It's not mandatory, but it's just an option. But you opted for that. So that gives you punya. So today you have acquired punya. The punya of making us all sit here and think of Ganesha. Nice. So that is called punya. Feels something good. Extra we do beyond our duty in a selfless way for God or for the nation or for the good of others or for our own self-elevation, fetches us punya. So he gives you anugraha, vara for that. And then Tirodana refers to we do some acts which are not necessary. Right. For example, we have our work today in the morning, everything, kitchen, that there's household work. We complete everything and we have extra time. When we have extra time, just like Ketaki Bhagini, we should do something good. Otherwise,
I'm getting a lot of praising everybody.
Okay, because you're the only person I know, I think. I'm just taking your name.
Dhanyavad.
So, if we are not inspired enough in the right direction, what would we do in the free time? I will pick up the phone and start chatting. Yes. You know her neighbor, son, ran away with that girl. You know about that whole episode? So we will start talking rubbish, nonsense. It is not necessary at all. We will spin lies, we will spread lies, we'll spread rumors, we'll waste our time, we'll
watch TV
with somebody. Kavya Shastra Vinodena Kalo Gachati Dhimatam. People who know the value of time will spend their time in Shastra or Kavya, in factual study or in aesthetic activities.
Yes.
But Vyasanena tu mudhanam nidraya kalahenava. People who don't know the value of time, value of life, value of this human birth, what they do on the either vyasanas, bad habits, or kalaha, quarrel, or nidra. They just goes away. They are lazy. So this is what we do. When we waste our time, while our time, or do something wrong, we go against dharma, then he is watching. He has the ankusha in his hands. It is Tirodana. The ankusha is the the kind
mouth
of
use it,
yes, which the mouth uses.
Yes.
There is a very soft part in the temple region of an elephant, which is very, very delicate.
Gandasthara, they call it, right?
Is very strong. This part is so delicate that if it's hurt, the elephant dies. That is why you see the lions or tigers try to pounce on the head of the elephant. Once you beat it here, you open this flesh part, it's almost good as dead. So the mouth that paces is God here and controls the elephant. So Ankusha refers to the power of controlling. So he's controlling all our jivas. We are making mistakes. We think there's no CCTV camera around, I will take away, but he's watching. And Pasha refers to his leela of tying us to bandhana. In every janma, we get bond to some family, some region, something. It's beyond our choice, isn't it? We are born in a family. So somebody is our parent, somebody is our brother, sister.
Yes.
We get married, somebody is our husband, somebody is our friend. You have a working relationship in your career. So all these come because of his itcha. So he ties us by pasha. Why? To tame us. We need to be tamed and trained and brought to track, and we need to understand how to live in this world with dharma and how to transcend this world and go towards mukti. So his pasha is all about playing with us. You know, he ties us to our duties and relationships and gets us bound. He also releases that. When the time comes, he will release us in such a way that nothing can stop us. We will just go attain mukti. Nobody can be in the way of our mukti except ourselves. We just say, मेरी सास ठीक नहीं है, अरे मेरे पति है ना, वो ठीक नहीं है, अरे मेरे बच्चे
we have under any pretext we'll try to avoid our own growth.
Yes, there is nobody who can stop us except ourselves. And ourselves, we are bound by pasha. And until we have done our duties, God will make us do with the pasha around our neck. And he will give us mukti in the right time. So this is what Ganapati represents. Then we have this Raktambara. He is always wearing a red garment. Actually, Ganapati himself is red. There is a tradition of worshipping the Shonashma, the red stone. There's a type of stone which represents, like we have Banalinga, which represents Shiva. You have the Shalagrama, which represents Vishnu. You have the copper yantra, which represents Devi. And we have the Indra, Surya Kanta Shila, which represents Surya. We have similarly the Shonashma, the red type of stone, which represents Ganapati. In the Panchayatana Puja, if you don't want the Vigraha, the Murti, you can have just these stones and these things and worship. That is between Sakara and Nirakara. Why red? Because in the Kundalini Tattva, the Muladhara Padma color is red. There are different colors set for different chakras. So there's a red hue in the Muladhara, and he emanates there as the Gajakunda. So he is dressed in red color. And finally, his Vahan, that is Mushaka. It represents our Chapal and Chanchal mind. You know, Mushaka is always Chapala and Chanchala, isn't it? Chapal always wants something, some food to eat. Give it a lot of food, it will still not rest. It will go and eat into something else. Our mind is like that. It is never at peace. It always wants to keep munching on some gossip, something, some unwanted things. And it is chanchala. And it doesn't even focus on one place, here and there, here and there. And it always lives in darkness. It always lives in hiding. It is hideous. And it doesn't trust anybody. It is afraid. It is weak. It's got all the weak traits that we can think of. And it steals into others' houses. So that is how it lives. So Mushaka refers to our mind. So he has perfect control over the Mushaka. He's riding on
over Mushaka.
So he's riding on our minds. A person who has perfect control over his mind becomes a Ganapati. He becomes one with Ganapati. So Mushaka refers to this weakness of our mind, which we have to. So there are many such symbolisms. I think, I don't know if I left any. And Ganapati, he's the Gajakunda in our Kundalini. Without his puja, without having our Jagrata Bhava, whatever we do doesn't get us Siddhi. It doesn't merge, it doesn't end up as a successful thing. It ends up half done. So that is why we do Adhi Puja. We waken up the Ganapati. We do puja to him, offer puja to him. He opens up all our Urdhva energy, or higher energies, and removes all the obstacles that stop us from going within ourselves, higher within ourselves, and he enables us. That is why he's a Vignanashaka, Buddhidayaka, Buddhi Prachodaka, Vidyadayaka, Siddhidayaka, everything. So Adi Puja refers to the point of where our higher energies are triggered and our Urdhva Gati, higher journey in life begins. So he is responsible for that. Without his kripa, nothing is possible.
Wonderful. I think nothing more we can ask for. This is really wonderful explanation for one sentence question. To add to a little bit of what you mentioned, I am initiated by Swami Ranganathanji, and I have read his work, and I'm actually trying to digitalize his work because it's losing its publication and hard copies are rare now. It's an enormous bhandar of knowledge which future generation should know about. That is one. Second thing, as you said, the story, how Ganesha form came in existence, and the point you mentioned just now, it's a Adi Devata. For anything auspicious that we are performing, first is a Ganesha Puja, and then the next puja starts. In childhood, there is a story. Devi Parvati did not like her son's face is elephant face, and she said he should get some importance in the significance. Then that's where Lord Shiva said that you will be Adipati. For any puja, the entire humankind will worship Ganesha first, and then they will start their next puja archa vidhi. That is also interesting to convince somebody why they should do this. But your version is definitely more appealing. Now, next thing is
I just like to add one thing.
yeah.
You know, in the folk dimension, all such beautiful, innocent feelings are connected to that. So people say if you don't worship, he will create Vighna for you.
Okay.
He does not have to create Vighna. We are the biggest Vighnas for ourselves. You know, he helps us to transcend our Vighnas. Yes. But in the folkish language, like for our children, we say if you don't eat food, police will come and catch you. Even the policeman will say, "Hey, khalo, nahi to le jaunga," isn't it? So although that's not true, it's a sentiment which is respected. So folk needs to be seen in the aesthetic angle. It's beautiful. Folk is the mother of everything. It's beautiful. We need not dismiss that off. We cannot dismiss that off because it's the greatest fodder for our music, for our dance, for our drama, for our beautiful cultural world, for our festivals. Like in Karnataka, we have a beautiful folk story around Ganesh Chaturthi. It's exclusively in Karnataka. Why? Because the day before Ganapati is Gauri Puja.
Gauri Puja, yes.
This is actually Masika Gauri Puja, the Masa Tritiya Puja. Every Shukla Tritiya is a Gauri Puja somewhere in the world. Okay. There are more than some 30 types of Gauri Pujas. Chaitra Gauri, Vaishak Gauri, Ashad Gauri, Shravan Gauri, etc. So this Bhadrapada Gauri is called Swarna Gauri. Okay, the next day Ganesha comes. This is a small folk story formed around that. So probably it came down the grandmother's story tradition. Some grandmother must have told, it's become very popular. They say that Gauri visits her mother's house. For us in Karnataka, Gauri is our daughter. She's not even mother. She's our daughter. She's Jaganmata in the Tatvika. But in the folk way, she's our daughter. So we invite our daughters. We give them Bhagina. We give them Marada Bhagina. Kind of Tambul to the daughter. And we see Gauri in her. And so Gauri comes to her mother's house every year on this day. She's so happy with her parents. Maike, which girl is not happy in her parents' house? So she forgets to return. She stays back late evening and suddenly it's very late. So then Shiva is very worried. He says, she's gone. She's forgotten me. He sends Ganesha. You go. Your mother is like this. Every year she goes. She forgets herself in her Maike's house, in her mother's house. So bring her back. So the next day Ganesha arrives to take his mother. Now the Matrigraha, the people of Gauri's parents' house are very happy. They prepare special delicacies for Ganesha and both remain back for 3 days. Ganesha comes to take back his mother, but he is pampered with so many sweets and upacharas
that he also stays back for 3 days.
Yes. And then Shiva sends his Bhutagana and says, please come, please come, please come. So sometimes he may return the same day, sometimes 3 days, sometimes. So this is a beautiful folk story. We respect the folk story because it gives a lot of bhakti and aesthetic pleasure. A lot of creativity is allowed in bhakti. Because life is not about just going in a linear way, straight way, just logic. And I can't
that is the beauty of our culture, that we have utsava and celebrations every single day. And that makes the life interesting.
We should not mess up with both. Tatvika is very gambhira, very dignified and very serious. And the aesthetic, the folk is very beautiful. Both should go together. The medicine should be sugar coated, but the medicine should not be all sugar. It will not be medicine at all.
True.
But just medicine cannot be taken. It's hard to digest. Maybe some yogis can do that.
Yeah.
So both go together. We
Yes.
have to be careful and educated about this, because if we get messed up, somebody like this Zakir Hussain will come, Zakir Naik will come and speak nonsensical things. He will confuse us. Our bhakti will be affected. We feel hurt. We can't answer back. We don't know how to answer. So they will try to bring in logic in aesthetics, and they will never speak about the real logic.
Real logic, yes.
So we should keep both together and both apart and be clear about this.
Yes. The idea behind starting this series is same, Akka. It so happened that the new generation, even if they are in Bharat Desh, most of them are not aware of these small things also, the folk stories that we are talking about, because they are somewhere carried away with the modernization and in the name of development. They have forgotten the originality and roots of our culture, our tradition, our religion also, for that matter. And why am I insisting on English version? Because more people should know about it, and language shouldn't become a barrier for not understanding it for any generation and any state for that matter, because this is going to be published across India, and every language person should be able to understand and relate to it. That is the whole idea behind it. And as you rightly said, Sanskrit bhasha is beautiful and our own bhasha, but somehow not many understand it. Second thing, that has become more difficult than English, unfortunately. And also, many things cannot be explained in English. It doesn't have a parallel word to our Sanskriti and our bhavana, our emotions also. That's very true. But somewhere we need to uh, communicate and convey our original message, and that is the efforts I'm doing. Now, next question I have for you is anything that you want to uh, tell the viewers about the puja vidhi, that is from Chaturthi to Chaturdashi. Any particular sequence to be followed, or anything that they should be more careful about?
Okay. It's again regional only, because what we do in here in Karnataka, in my house, will not be the rule for everybody in every place.
True.
So the diversity, the diverse approach is the beauty of Sanatana Dharma. I have traveled widely across India. So I see striking diversities, but behind that, the Tatvika Chintana is the same. So in that background, in that context, the most important thing, what can be common for all of us, is mainly once you have the Prana Pratishthapan done, just having an idol in the house, I don't like to call it an idol, having a deity, a devata in your house,
Murti,
in your
let's
house,
put it,
that's different, that is for smaran and darshan. Okay? But when you do Prana Pratishtapana, the moment you do Prana Pratishtapana in the formal way, we assume or we feel the presence of the Ananta in that form. So he is the living God. We are conscious that he is there. So the Vidyukta Puja must be done. The real, the proper puja must be done. It's not that you have to be very elaborate and very, very afraid of what will go wrong. Please keep away those fears. You have to be very disciplined, no doubt. There's a lot of disciplined asserted. You have to take bath, you have to be clean. Kaika shuchi, vachika shaucha, and manasika shaucha.
That is also essential.
Body, pardon?
That is also essential, I said.
Yeah, that's very essential. That is very essential. For smarana, you don't need that. Just to look at Bhagavan's Murti, you don't need to take bath every time. To think of God on your bed, you don't need to be have taken bath. But when you have to perform puja in the right way, like you do prana pratishtha, particularly in the festival days, Parvadina, what we do is we do prana pratishtapana, avahana, dhyana, etc. Then there's a puja vidhi, okay? Avahana, asana, then before that we do dhyana and pranayama, etc. Even before that we do ghanta nada, and we purify the atmosphere. We dispel all the dushta shaktis, and we do mantra, jala prokshan and everything, kalash puja. We do kalasha puja, etc. And then dhyana, avahana, then madhuparka. Before that we give this Adhyapadya, Achana, etc. We wash his feet, wash his mouth, hands, wash his mouth, give him some Madhuparka. Madhuparka here, I don't know if it's the same everywhere. In our place, Madhuparka refers to a small piece of banana which is soaked in honey. It is offered to God. It's called Madhuparka. There are different ways again.
Yeah.
It's made like a small sweet in some places. This is what we do in our place. And then we have Abhisheka. And simple Abhisheka is also there, or we have the Panchamrita Abhisheka, Kshira, Dadhi, milk, curds, ghee, and honey and sugar.
Yeah.
And after that, we have Falodaka, the rasa, the juices of any fruit, or maybe coconut.
Yes.
And then you have Gandhodaka, sandal water. You have Haridrodaka, the turmeric water, Kumkum water, Shrigandha water, perfumed waters, and flowers soaked in water. We bathe him with that. And finally, Shuddhodaka Snana. After that, Alankara, Abharana, we give him Abharanas, and then Upavita also. And then Haridra Churnam Samarpayami, Kunkuma Churnam Samarpayami, Gandhakshathani Samarpayami, sandal and flowers, and then Pada Puja, Anga Puja, Nama Puja, Ashtottara Shatanama Puja, Sahasranama. There are so many, And finally, Dhupa, Dhipa, offer Dhupa, then Dhipa, then Gandha, Pushpa, and then Naivedya. Naivedya in Karnataka, we prepare Kadubu, we say. Modak is prepared in two ways. One is the type which you see in Maharashtra also, the round one with this, And we do in another way also called Kadubu. Kadubu is prepared in two ways. One is the boiled one is a fried one. In that you have again sweet one and the namkeen one. So that is very important for Ganesha. Panchabhakshya, we say, Paramana. Panchabhakshas, at least 5 types of sweets will be there. In that some are fried, some are milk sweet, some are boiled, etc. And then we have bharjyas. Bharjya refers to fries like papad or things. We say sandike, I don't know what you call in English. There are many yummy things. Remembering too many of them quite early. Tomorrow and day after will be completely, will be rejoicing with all of them. Yes. And Panchabhaksha Paramana. Paramana refers to payasa. Paramana. And different types of khadyas. For Gauri, we have different types of rice items. 5 types of rice items we do. Sweet rice, curd rice, and lemon rice, and another 2 rices we do. And very popular in Karnataka is Obbattu or Holige. I think you call it Poli, right? Yes, we prepare different types of polis. And all these we offer to Ganesha, Naivedya. Yatha Shakti, Yatha Priti. Nothing is mandatory. If you are not capable enough or tired or not possible, you don't have helping hands. And now the corona problem is there. You prepare so much, you can't even distribute to people. So you can make it simpler. But something should be there. What we do in our middle class families is we prepare minimum 21 modakas. Just
okay, so now here, what is the significance behind 21?
I'll just complete. After that, we have Manglarti. And then Prarthana and Pradakshina Namaskara or Atma Pradakshina. And then the Upayana Dana. Whoever is officiating priest, we offer him an Upayana, offer him a gift. And whoever is the elder of the family, we pour out to them and take the prasad in their hands. And the evenings are spent in Utsava. Morning is a Vrata. Evening it's all Utsava. Gita, Nritya, Vadya, Santosha, Nataka, Harikatha.
Kaladarshan.
Just go, rejoice, dance, be very happy, go from house to house. When I was a kid, we used to go and have darshan of 108 Ganeshas. With a small box full of akshata in hand. We would go from each house to house and say, Vidya Ganapati Jayavagli, and we would throw the akshata. Some of them would give us sweets and chocolates and all, and would really fondle us. Some would shoo us away. Oh, what a headache, because all the kids of all houses used to come. We would start early evening around 3 o'clock and go on till 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock. Parents would just spank us and bring us back home. So those were the days. And we also have this Ganesh Otsav on streets like you have in Maharashtra. Here and there, little boys will make
Sarvajanik Ganesh.
Yes, a lot of rejoicement goes with it. Yes. Now coming to the 21 Sankhya, it is
and also the significance behind offering Durvankura.
Yes, Durva Yutma, correct. Ganapati is signified by Durva. Durva has many great significances to that. One is it is Pavitrikarana. Without Pavitra, without being pure, nothing starts in life. The first step to success is being pure. Many of us think you can have a shortcut to success. You can be anything and you can buy success. You can use all the shortcuts to success. That is not success. That is only apparent success. It doesn't give you the trupti. When you know something, when you have achieved something, you feel very happy. Like if I really have gone I have done a lot of Himalayan trekking. It's tiring, your legs pain, you are tired, etc., etc. All that happens. But once you have really reached the summit and take a selfie, the kind of fulfillment you get is wonderful. Now, using Photoshop, I can put my photo on Mount Everest and say I have climbed Mount Everest. But I know I'm lying, and somebody will get to know I'm lying also. So nobody can escape, particularly today in the social media age. You can't lie and get away like that. So the real fulfillment will not be with us. Very recently, we had an example of a boy who said, I'm a drone scientist, etc. and blah, blah, blah. And he's now revealed, and such a big shame. So always start with Shuddhi. Durva refers to Shuddhi. And it also refers to that Sukshmata. Durva is Yugma. Usually two are offered to Ganapati. I don't know why, you must ask somebody. Always a pair of Durva is Yugma means two, twin. So two are offered every time. And for each deity, for each devata, we have one special flower, one special leaf, one special number, one special direction. All these are there in the Agama Shastras, in the religious traditions. So for Ganapati, Durva is the symbol, and it represents that Tikshnata, that probing type of thing, and purity. And it is very flexible, but it is very strong. It is not easy to tear off a Durva. It is so flexible. And even plucking a Durva is very difficult. The
three truna has to be there.
It's very sharp. You cut your fingers, the outer covering. We don't know because we get ready-made Durva. And Durva is not the same all over India. I was very fascinated. I thought the Durva we get in Bangalore is the same everywhere. It's not so. I have seen Durvas which are as tall as 6 feet in some seashores and in Himalayan areas. So it is very different in different places, but they all they belong to the same species. And then coming to 21, the Siddhi Sankhya, it is the Sankhya of Ganapati. And it says the Siddhi Sankhya. You do anything 21 times at a stretch, continuously, you will get Siddhi. You want to memorize a song, sing it 21 times at a stretch without stopping. A break. It's not like once today, once tomorrow. No, 21 times at a time. It's called Siddhi Sankhya. You want to memorize, you can tell your kids to memorize a shloka or a lesson or a sum or a tables, whatever. Interestingly, I had an experience I want to share with you. I once met a very famous, world famous handwriting analyst, a Bangalorean, and also a great magician and a handwriting specialist. So the moment you see a handwriting specialist, what do? We say, tell me about my handwriting, isn't it? He does psychoanalysis on handwritings. So he asked me, he gave me a sentence to write. So I wrote the sentence and showed it to him. And he made some small corrections, say this represents this ideology, this and this. I think you have to change 2 or 3 letters to relax your mind from those wrong ideologies. He said something, and yes, I took it seriously. A very elderly man, and I do respect all that. And I don't pour in dry logic into all that, because without knowing something, we should never judge anything. Then finally, he told me, now I'll tell you 3 letters which you have to practice. For 21 days at a stretch, you should not stop even for 1 day. 21 days, you have to do this writing. Like small children, you have to do the cursive writing in a style which I teach you to do. You have to write it in this way. Some changes in how I used to write those letters. For example, T. Okay, we put that talekattu, we say, like this, in the middle or lower part. He said you have to put it at the top, not so high that it is beyond that, but exactly at the top. That is the right way to write. It will correct your thinking, etc. And then many such he told, and he told me to write for 21 days. And then he told me one more thing. Every time you sit to write 21 times at a stretch, not more, not less.
21 times, 21 days.
Or you want to write more every day, you have to write 2100 times.
I see.
Like that. It should be the 21 connection.
Multiple.
So I asked him why. I asked him, is it anything related to Ganapati? He said, I don't know. Maybe it is related to Ganapati, but I learned it from a Western school of handwriting. So they say that it is based on a psychological interpretation that they say that when anything we hear or listen or learn from outside, it remains in our short-term memory. They call it STM for some time. If you for 21 times, if you repeat that, you see that or listen to that or hear that or say that or recite that, it goes into the long-term memory, LTM. And once it goes into the LTM, you will not forget that easily. So they usually tell the patients to do it 21 times. The 21st time it becomes assimilated into your psyche or into your memory. Yeah, that is what they say. He said. I was like, maybe our
amazed.
she's not know about this, you know.
Yeah.
They were great observers of nature. That is what I see. Whatever they said, they have observed nature very keenly. They have observed human psychology very keenly. They have observed human relationships, behavioral traits, children, youngsters, women, men, birds, flowers, seasons, the skies, the grahas, the nakshatras, the seasons, the climatic changes, and the relationship with the man, the prakriti. You know, they have been very keen observers of nature, and they saw a divinity in everything. So everything they said was based on some observation, very serious hypothetical inferences only. They never vaguely said something like this. So unless we go through that on the track in which they went, we can't understand why they said something. But finally, now these days we see a lot of logic, like even social distancing. We call it madi in Karnataka, in Kannada. Like to keep a distance, not to drink from a glass of water which somebody has touched with their lips, you know, drink it from. All these were kind of social distances to avoid all these kind of sonku, what do you say, contagious contracting pandemics. So they, you know, for 15 to 10,000 years, they have had so many trials and errors, so many lokanubhavas, so many experiences. Based on that, based on their meditation, based on their worldly experience, based on their observations, yes. They have done all this. So that is how perhaps 21 has many more beautiful things to it. And in Karnataka, I don't know about others, we hold like this.
Yes.
There's a nerve here, which is supposed to be dormant. When children are mischievous, we do like this. Not just like this. You shouldn't hold the upper part of the ear. You should hold here and do like this. It seems there's a nerve or whatever vein, something which will trigger the brain activity.
Stimulates the brain.
And becomes more alert. And holding that here, just above the lower part, not completely low here, we make our children do baski. Baski means, I don't know what you call it in Maharashtrian language.
No, got it. Yeah, I know baski.
Yes, 21 times. What do you call that?
Udbasha.
Okay.
Udbasha. It's up and down, sitting up and down. Yeah.
Okay. 21 times. So all these are very meaningful. Why only kids? Because we want them to be alert
and active.
Everything, you know, our dharma is a mixture of life, experience, belief, sentiments, tattva, many hidden secrets, observation, health, Ayurveda, aesthetics. So many things have been weaved together for the good of humanity. So that is why, even if we don't know the value or the meaning, it's good we do. There's no harm in doing anything. There's really good in doing all that. Whether or not you know, when you fall into water, you do it intentionally or unintentionally, you get wet, right? Yes. So let's get wet, let's get influenced with a beautiful tradition. Yes. We will slowly start understanding them if we have the right way to probe. I would like to quote Swami Vivekananda. He says, anything Indian, accept and then verify. Anything Western, verify and then accept. We have developed a mindset where we accept everything, every nonsensical thing from the West. Yes. Without verifying. And why do we bring in dry logic to question or counter or try to refute everything from our own culture? Let's do it. Let's practice it. They have given it with love, not for market. The outsiders have come to loot us, to convert us, to make a market of us. I think we need to be more modest, and humble, and acknowledge that there has been a great thought line behind all this, experience behind all this.
Once again, and it was a great honor to have you. So Shubhodaya and Shubhecha for the festive time. Please take care of your health and thanks for your time. We'll connect once again to talk about Sanskrit and other subject. Dhanyavad.